Out of Arizona over the weekend, Congresswoman Gabrielle Gifford's intern was actually at that frightening scene.
Danielle Hernandez jumped into action during the shooting spree, rushing to the Congresswoman's aid after she was shot in the head. This morning, Danielle joins us by phone to talk more about that tragic day. Good morning, Danielle.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Fine, thank you. First, let's talk about the scene of the shooting. Many people ran away from those gunshots. You ran toward them. What made you do that?
It was just instinct. When I heard that there were gunshots and I heard someone yell gun, I knew that if there was indeed a gunman, the congresswoman would likely be a target. So I wanted to make sure that she and others around her were okay.
So what did you do?
When I started running towards where the congresswoman was supposed to be, I saw that there were a few people who were on the ground already. So I started to try and do some basic triage. So seeing who was still alive, checking for pulses, checking for respirations. I was only able to get to 2 or 3 people, actually, before I saw that the congresswoman had indeed been hit. When I saw that she had been hit and that she had a severe head injury, she then became my first and only priority.
Was she conscious at the time? Were you able to communicate with her when this was going on?
She was alert and conscious the entire time, from the moment that I grabbed her from the ground to try and keep her from asphyxiating and making sure that she was breathing all right, to the moment where she was taken off of the ambulance. She was still responding and she was still letting us know that she was there.
What was she saying to you?
She wasn't speaking. The way that she was communicating was by squeezing hands and responding by holding up a finger or just when we would ask her a quick question, just letting us know by grabbing our arms that she knew what we were saying.
Daniel, you said a moment ago that when you heard the gunshots, you figured it was the congresswoman because you would have thought she was targeted. Why do you say she was targeted?
Just because of the high-profile position that she's in. A few months ago, her office here in Tucson was actually hit by a bullet. So I knew it wouldn't have been the first time that she had been targeted or her staff had been targeted. And I know that she had a pretty tough race in 2010 where there was some vitriolic rhetoric that was spread on both sides.
She was actually on Sarah Palin's hit list as well as 20 other politicians, and Sarah Palin had crosshairs on this website. Did that make any of you concerned, including the congresswoman?
I don't know. I didn't have that kind of conversation with anyone on the congresswoman's staff, either her congressional staff or her campaign staff. I just know that after that event where her congressional office in Tucson was hit, everyone kind of knew that there was always a risk. But Gabby, staying true to the person that she's always been, let us know that she wanted to talk to as many constituents as possible, because she was the most accessible politician that I've ever met. She was also one of the warmest people you'll ever meet in your entire life.
So, Daniel, how are you doing? Because a lot of times when people go through something like this, they have post-traumatic stress, they have survivor's guilt. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, as well as can be expected after the tragic events that happened on Saturday. But right now my main concern is trying to make sure that we kind of keep everyone who is still injured, because there are still quite a few people who are injured, including the congresswoman and her district director, Ron Barber, in our thoughts and our prayers, but also the families of those who actually lost someone, because we did lose a few people during the event.
Danielle Hernandez, one of the interns for Congresswoman Gabrielle Gifford there in Arizona. Daniel, thanks for taking the time and talking to us.
Thank you guys so much. Have a great day.
In other news this morning, a task force on domestic violence will meet today. They plan to hear from law enforcement professionals and others about the next steps the legislator could take in improving domestic violence reforms passed last year. That includes the shortcomings in the bail bond structure.